Hey guys, welcome back to another part of No One But You. In the last part, Hideaki, my bro, our savior, came in and recorded everything that seems to be brewing with Mr. Ketsuna. And yeah, he's got some serious past going on that could get really bad. I have a feeling not only is she claiming that he's a murdering pedophile, this is going to get dark. So I'm just going to put a forewarning that this part may be kind of bad because we're going to be going through the history because Megumi is telling us everything that's happening. Excuse me. So without further ado, let's go into it. I'm going to assume this is Megumi talking, actually, because this does not look like our house at all.
For the time of my oldest memory, I always lived in a loving, nurturing household. I lived with a serious father who devoted himself to providing for us, a caring mother who could never bring herself to raise her hand at us, and my sister Hitomi, the person I idolized more than anyone else. Throughout my childhood, those perceptions remained unchanged. I loved my family to a fault, and always knew I could count on them. I would follow my sister around mindlessly, compete with her for her parents' attention, and wind up apologizing as my antics went too far. But no matter how restless I was, no matter how inappropriate my actions, I was never scolded or hated. My family reappropriated my feelings wholeheartedly. Reciprocated. Gosh, I had a mental blah right there. Reciprocated my feelings wholeheartedly, and such minor squabbles could never get between us. As I grew older, although my priorities and loyalties changed, my core feelings remained the same. I looked up to my older sister every step of the way, every test she aced, every award she received, every confession she politely rejected. She was my idol, the one person above all else whom I wanted to emulate. So I would follow her around, study the things she studied, act the way she acted, until the moment when I realized that I didn't have what it took. I was a quiet, unattractive, good-for-nothing little girl with a sister complex, a parasite leeching off my amazing sister, living in her shadow.
Sorry. This is a little bit close to me. Okay. Story for another day, guys. No matter how much I wanted to be like her, no matter how much I wanted to be her, I couldn't. Time continued to pass us by, and I gradually grew to accept my place. Even if I couldn't become the person I idolized, I could at least be by her side. That alone would be enough. Oh, her sister's really pretty. And they had the same hair braids. That's really cute. Oh, you want to join the student council? That's right. And you understand that it isn't all fun and games, right? There's a lot of work to be done, and there are many responsibilities that come with this job. That's okay. I just want to help you and the other students as much as possible. Is that so? That's quite a nice attitude you have there. But won't you be bored? Being on the student council means giving up your free time for the sake of the school, you know. I know, but Oni-chan will be there, right? So there's no way I'll get bored. What a charmer you are. You're going to make your significant other very happy one day. Yeah, see? I knew it. She found something in Hideaki, something that allowed her to cling to something. Now, whether that is healthy is up to debate, because her sister complex, which we're learning about now, directly affects our relationship in a sense, because she found this new person, one that didn't know of her past, that didn't judge her, and she could just be herself for the first time. And she was accepted by us because she was just who she was. It's the thing about new students and why they're chosen very often in school-type scenarios and stories, because that outside observer is not only good for the storyteller to express emotions that certain students with history throughout either the world or the class or anything, but it also allows us, the viewer, to really understand the beginnings of, you know, all these characters. Then obviously we get to know them just as the main character does. And it's really powerful that the main character can be such a rock to certain characters. And like I said, the idea of her jumping from a sister complex to, you know, being all over us and all that, just because that's all she really knows how to do. Like I said, there's two sides of that. There's always the good and there's the bad. You know, like, obviously she's not facing her problems and being her own person. She's just transferring all that from her sister onto us. You know, like the idea of abusing her relationship with us throughout the summer vacation to just, like, not have any time for her friends is a big deal, you know? So, like I said, negativities aside, I still think that's more of a positive thing than not, especially since now she's kind of telling us about her. And suck it to all you people that think she's goddamn yandere, because I fucking called it. Called it. But, okay, enough boasting aside, let's continue.
But for the time being, if you're really sure about this, then welcome aboard. You mean it? Of course. Someone has to be over for me as student council someone has to take over for me as student council president when I graduate. We may only spend this 1 year serving together, but I look forward to working with you, Miss Megumi Hinomura. Hinomura. Jeez, I have some other anime on my mind right now, I guess. The relationship my sister and I shared was often subject to ridicule by others. But as long as we were together, I couldn't care less. I truly adored my older sister, and the day we spent together on the student council together. Oh gosh, I read 2 of those. And spend working on the student council together were some of the happiest of my life. Whether we were surveying students, helping teachers, or just filling paperwork, every day was bliss. From the bottom of my heart, I wish those days to never end. But all that changed when he showed up.
And don't forget about the notes for next lesson, okay, Hitomi?
Yes, sir.
Good. After you've done with those, please come to the staff room. We need to have a little talk.
Understood. With the second semester begun and Hitomi's class underwent a homeroom teacher change, her class was paired with Mr. Ketsuna, a relatively new teacher transferring in from another school. His credentials were stellar, and most of the female students adored him, but Hitomi, from the moment that he appeared, Hitomi began to change. Every day she would come home with a little less energy, tired from all the extra work her new teacher put her through. Both physically and mentally exhausted, she had little time for the student council, or for her friends, or even for me. I thought that her diligent nature and work ethic were to blame. Being a natural perfectionist, everything Hitomi did required the utmost effort. Thinking that way was what right did I have to interfere? The hard-working sister I so adored was tiring herself out by being true to her nature. How could I do anything except give her my support? But in reality, I was just naive.
Ugh. This is gonna get bad. As I said no! Hey, come on, don't be like that. I've seen the way you look at me before. Don't try and deny it by acting all innocent. Just a little won't hurt. Will it?
Please, I don't want this. One day after school, on a day like any other, I headed over to the student council club room. I was returning a bit late after performing cleaning duties for my class, so I hurried over as quickly as I could. When I reached the club room, however, there was a sign on the door saying the club wouldn't be meeting and that we should go straight home. Excuse me. At first, I thought nothing of it. I was late, so surely one of the other members must have left the note for me to find. But the moment I turned to walk away, I heard the unmistakable voice of my sister. "Leave me alone! Get away from me, you pedophile!"
Oh, Jesus. Oh, now you've done it. I thought you were a nice, prim, and proper girl, but to use such a foul word, you're just like all the other bitches. Oh, Jesus. That's not good. That's not good.
I quietly slid the door open just a fraction, completely unaware of what was going on inside. And the moment I did, I froze. "Stop it! What do you think you're doing?"
Whatever I want, you little bitch.
What I saw was Hitomi's homeroom teacher, Mr. Ketsuna, holding on to my sister from behind. She was in pain, fiercely resisting his grip, trying desperately to break free. But the man, many years her senior, was undeniably stronger, and his position gave him the advantage. Ripping her hair out with one hand, he started to undo Hitomi's skirt with the other. No, you can't do this!
Don't you care about what will happen to you?
Don't you care what will happen to you?
Don't be silly. Nothing will happen to me. At worst, I'll just get transferred again due to non-sensational ravings of a broken little girl.
Mr. Ketsuna continued, unabated, undoing the next button of Hitomi's skirt. Her words were having no effect on him. If anything, her resistance excited him even more. You're sick! I'll have you arrested. You'll never see the light of day again.
Do try. I love it when the seemingly strong girls resist. Those other bitches fawned all over me, but where's the fun if there's no chase?
This isn't a chase. You're a criminal.
A rose by any other name. More importantly, He-chan, are you a virgin?
What?
You
horrid pedophile!
There's that word again. For a straight-A student, you don't seem to be very smart. I guess you'll just have to fix that attitude of yours.
Mr. Ketsuna undid another button of Hitomi's skirt, then another. She continued to flail her arms, but her teacher was too strong for her to break free. She needed help, a third party to intervene. And I... Oh, God. I was too scared to move. In front of me, I saw my beloved sister, the person who meant more to me than anyone else in the world, being attacked by an older man, and I froze. I recognized how hopeless her situation was. I knew that she needed my help, and yet I couldn't move. My peerless older sister, my role model, my idol, the perfect human being, was in trouble, a situation unlike any other she'd been in before. My beautiful, courageous, serene older sister, a girl who could calmly think through any scenario before her, had been enveloped by a scene even she could not find her way out of. My beloved sister was going to be raped.
Oh God, I couldn't. I mean, I'm a guy, so it's a little bit different, but I couldn't just stand there. Oh God. Oh Jesus. Okay.
She would have her chastity stolen away by force, taken by a cowardly cretin who sought to prey on the weak. My perfect older sister would be a shell of her old self, crippled by a disgusting pedophile who wanted nothing more than to satisfy his own lust. A despicable, lowly insect of a human being who would do irreparable harm to my sister, and I would stand by and do nothing? The more I thought about it,
the angrier I became. I could feel the door frame shift in my hand as the strength of my grip increased, threatening to crack the wood as I looked towards my enemy with utter malice in my eyes. I had never felt so angry in my life. At that moment, I wanted nothing more than to violently murder that man in front of me. And when my rage finally consumed me, I was afraid no longer. "Leave my sister alone, you disgusting rapist!" I slammed the door open with as much force as I could muster, screaming loudly enough that any remaining student on the same floor could hear me. Both Hitomi and Mr. Ketsuna stopped dead, rendering speechless by the unexpected intrusion. "But, Megumi..." Hitomi softly uttered my name as though confirming that she wasn't seeing an illusion, but rather that display relief or gratitude. "So this is your little sister, huh? No, please, let her out of this! Leave her out of this." "Oh? And just why would I do that? Listen to that foul mouth of hers. You've already corrupted her. Obviously, she needs some education." Please, no. Video game, please don't do this. "No, you can't! Ren Megumi! Don't let him catch you!" "Shut it!" Showing no concern for herself, Hitomi begged me to escape. Mr. Ketsuna himself, rather than feel worried by my presence, saw me as a tool to leverage my sister. They both saw my attempt at saving my sister as little more than interference, unnecessary and without purpose. Like hell I am! But I wasn't about to give up. Even if my sister told me to save myself, there was no way I could abandon her. After standing idly by, completely oblivious to the treatment she endured, unable to do a thing to help her, I had reached my limit. Let go of her, let her go right now, or I'm going to scream until every teacher in this school comes running, you filthy pedophile. You... Mr. Ketsuna snarled once again, agitated by my words. From the moment I started eavesdropping, I noticed that one word in particular seemed to drive him crazy. "Well, Mr. Pedophile, are you going to release her or not, Mr. Pedophile? You wouldn't want me to get fired. You wouldn't want to get fired now, would you, Mr. Pedophile?" Mr. Ketsuna glared at me angrily, tightening his grip on my sister's hair. "You little bitch. Every bit as horrid and contemptible as your ratbag sister." "Megumi, stop it! You need to get out of here!" I'll leave when this sick pig leaves, though I suppose a pedophile like him would rather stay at school than go home, so it might be a while." "Shut up! Shut the hell up!" Turning more to his attention towards me, Mr. Ketsuna continued to grow madder and madder. But his grip on my sister's hair didn't loosen at all. If anything, his violent shaking was causing her more pain than before. "Uh-oh, Mr. Pedophile is getting angry. Say, Mr. Pedophile, why were you transferred here anyway? Did your pedophilic tendencies get the best of you? Were you outed as a pedophile? Stop provoking him! You don't know what you're doing!" I guess pedophiles never change, huh? You can take the pedophile out of the school, but you can't take the... "Shut the fuck up!" At that moment, I finally understood my sister's desperate plea. Oh, gosh. From my position in the doorway, looking directly towards my sister, I could see everything. I watched on in horror as my sister, screaming at me to run away, had her head slammed her head slammed with violent force against the table in front of her. I clearly saw her tongue being severed by her teeth, and the unbelievable amount of blood that followed. I froze, staring blankly at the scene before me as my sister bled out. Oh, fuck. Mr. Ketsuna, the man who had just bashed my sister's chin into the table in front of them, was speechless. Seconds ago, he was agitated beyond belief, consumed by anger and lust. But now, standing in a pool of his victim's blood, my sister's blood, Reality had finally struck. No, I never meant to. Shocked by his own actions, Mr. remained frozen in place. What was intended to be an act of lust and domination ended in death, a result nobody present had predicted. And in the face of this vile scene, not even the murderer himself could keep his cool. Unlike Mr. Ketsuna, I did not flee the scene. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I didn't register anything happening around me. Despite standing, I was practically comatose, rendered useless by what had just happened. My thoughts continued to cycle through the memories of Hitomi, fond recollections of our time together, peaceful days I thought would never end. But ultimately, I realized there was only one memory that mattered. I tried to save my sister. I tried to help. I wanted to protect my beloved sister, who meant the world to me, and for whom I would have done anything. And I got her killed. Despite thinking that way, I didn't really blame myself. Even if my intervention had been the trigger, I was lucid enough to realize I wasn't to blame. There was someone else, the person who caused all of this, the person who set all this into motion, the one person I could never forgive. Ketsuna, I quietly uttered to myself, unaware that those who had heard the collective screams of my sister and I had arrived. Ketsuna? As in Mr. Ketsuna, the new teacher? Huh? What about him? I don't see... Despite the urgency as which they had arrived, the few people who did show up were totally relaxed. Or at least they were, right until... Oh my god, what the... Yeah! Good heavens, is that... Students, don't look! Upon setting their sights on my sister's fresh corpse, the students and teachers who gradually arrived at the scene all had the same reaction. Students were repulsed, teachers were horrified, and they all just stood around, contributing nothing at all. Ketsuna, he did this. Miss Hinohara, what are you... I'm telling you, it's Mr. Ketsuna! He did this! That disgusting pedophile did this! Calm down, Miss Hinohara. Just take a deep breath, and... He did! He tried to rape my sister, then he killed her! I saw it all with my own eyes! I continued to shout, telling everybody who would listen about what I saw. I repeated time and time again that it was Mr. Ketsuna who was responsible. He was the one who killed my sister. And in the end, he was caught. Bloodstains on his shoes, my sister's hair on his shirt, and his fingerprints embedded in her flesh as bruises. Although it took a while for DNA tests to be conducted and for that man to be charged, everybody knew without a doubt that he was the one who killed her. But even with the man responsible in custody, life didn't get any better. My parents, utterly broken after having lost their first daughter, refused to so much as look at me. My mere existence reminded them of Hitomi. Just by being in the same house as them, I was causing them pain. It was then that I realized Hitomi was the lucky one. Without Hitomi around, and without my parents rejecting me outright, for the first time in my life, I was completely alone. Left behind by my own family, I experienced agony worse than death, soul-crushing loneliness, which Hitomi could no longer fill, and my parents simply refused to. I craved their attention more than anything. I wanted my family to acknowledge me, to see that they still had another daughter. But as time dragged on, their wounds did not heal. Upon realizing that I no longer had a place in that household, I quickly moved out.
My parents readily agreed to renting an apartment for me, anything to get away from me, and I started to live my own life. Live on my own, sorry. I brought with me only my school supplies and clothes, happy to live a minimalist lifestyle as I tried to regain my sense of self. Between talks with the police officers and counselors, I hadn't been to school since the day my sister died, nor had I done anything for myself. So when I moved out, I saw it as my chance to rebuild myself anew. I would become the person I always wanted to be, the happy, energetic, reliable person I always looked up to. No longer living in someone else's shadow, I would finally have an identity of my own, adopting the best parts of my idol. I would surpass her at last, and become someone who could have been her equal. And that is how I became who I am today. Sorry, I think I may have gone a little off topic there.
That's alright. I think we're going to end it there, guys. This part's a little bit longer than normal, but I think it was worth it. Whew, that's some heavy stuff. The stuff with sister, like I said, a story for another day, I guess. But I know exactly how she feels. Anyway, take care, guys, and stay frosty.